At the run club, I'm the oldest or one of the oldest guys there. They call me uncle, and it's respect. That's not how I took it. The only people that are allowed to call me uncle are those who finish ahead of me. There's a guy who's in his 20s, and he struggles to keep up with me. I call him uncle now. So you purpose-built this studio for your podcast?
Yes. Everything is done by intention.
Amazing. Amazing.
Why did you say that? You alluded to the table.
No, I'm looking at the wood on the walls, the table. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like this was a mistake. It seems like it was very...
It was built with the intention of being a studio. Okay. This was a sitting area to us before. It used to be a tent. And we started the podcast, but it was nothing official.
Yeah.
Just testing the waters, seeing how comfortable we would be in front of cameras, how efficient we would be in speaking, getting our point across. Do we have something to speak about, which is more importantly? Are we able to navigate through conversation and stuff? And there were no guests in the picture when we first started, so it was just me and Yusuf, which is, I would say, both a blessing and a curse. Thank God we have the personalities that we do that translated to meeting guests very easily. Like, I don't want to speak for you, but I hope you feel comfortable with us today here. Absolutely. Yeah, that came with time. Like, we had to work on it. Actually, it happened instantaneously because our first guests were people we knew.
Yes, of course.
Which made that transition a bit easier. Therefore, whenever we met new people, high-profile people, low-profile, anyone, we would always treat them the same, with the same welcoming, with everything is the same. It's just make sure they come here, whether they have a story to tell, whether they want to come a conversation, they have a promotion to do, whatever the case is, we can help accommodate that. And in your case today, you have a story to tell. Yeah. And I'm very interested in that story. But before we go into that, I wanted to ask you, because Mr. Nenani, I know that you lived in South Africa and then moved to the UK before coming to the...
From South Africa to here.
So UK, South Africa.
No, so UK, I studied in the UK as a child. Went to boarding school in England.
Sorry, I forgot to... Sorry, you were saying, so it started, you studied in the UK.
I went to boarding school in the UK from age 11 to age 18. And then studied in Switzerland for 3 years, then the US, moved back to my home country of Zambia, was working with and running the family business for several years with my brothers, and then moved to South Africa in the early 2000s, lived in South Africa for about 13, 14 years. And since 2015, December, been living in the UAE with my family.
So 10 years now.
10 years. This December is 10 years.
It's going to be 10 years, mashallah. And between all the places that you've been to in this life, how do you find the UAE?
Fascinating, to be honest, and fascinating for a couple of reasons. I think for me, one of the things that brought me and my family here was the safety of the country. It's incredibly safe to... It feels good to be able to go to bed at night and not worry. We have a cat man sitting here. The only worry you have in UAE, if you don't close a window or a door, is a stray cat walking in your house. I'll take that over some of the other countries I've lived in. But I think for me, what I love about the UAE is it is literally and figuratively the center of the world. I've met people here from every corner of the world, learned about new cultures, tasted new food, heard new music, been to weddings from different cultures and religions, and I love that about it. It's multicultural, and it's literally a new education every day, every week. So I'm grateful for that.
New education in terms of life in general.
Yeah, everything. I learn about new traditions and cultures. I learn things about myself. I learn things about where I come from, about Africa in relation to the history of this region. You meet people, for example, I belong to a run club. We were talking the other day. We have over 70 nationalities in that run club. So when we have breakfast after the run, you know, one day you can be sitting next to someone from Kyrgyzstan or someone from Palestine or someone from Colombia or someone from Nigeria, and that's just fascinating. It's like being in a classroom every single day.
It's a cultural, what do you call it, melting pot?
Melting pot, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know anywhere in the world right now that is attracting people from everywhere, like the UAE, and I'm grateful to be able to be part of that.
And I would say even for us as local people, we are blessed to have that kind of perspective, because you are brought up into this, as you say, melting pot, even though our culture and cultural ties remain, but we are much more accepting, much more like, we don't see differences. I wouldn't speak for everyone, but in general, we don't see differences because we grow up with different nationalities, different people from different regions, especially like, let's say if you're in a private school. So that melting pot translates to that school as well, because the people there are from many different nationalities. You have from China, Iran, India, like from everywhere. So that's interesting, man. So nowhere compares to the UAE.
Definitely. Right now, and we often have this conversation with my family. There's nowhere else I'd rather want to.
And the heat is worth it.
10 years in, you never get used to it. But you know what? It is what it is.
It is what it is.
You know,
South Africa.
Fortunately, the air conditioning works very well here.
Where in South Africa?
Johannesburg. So first lived in Cape Town for a year. My daughter was actually born in Cape Town. And then we moved to Johannesburg, lived there for 13 years.
Johannesburg is
Johannesburg
I've been there.
Is an interesting city. Another great city. Unfortunately, what made us leave was the crime. That's scary. I mean, sometimes when my family and I sit and talk about how we lived, we like, you know, burglar bars, alarms.
It's intense though.
Yeah, it's intense. Yeah, I think this is a very good way to describe.
Because imagine one time, because when I went to South Africa, I went for hunting.
Okay.
So me and my family, my cousins, uncles, we went there hunting. It was like 5 hours away from Johannesburg.
Yes.
So, but when we the drive even to the place, middle of nowhere, the jungle, we were like 5 trucks close by each other with guns in the car.
Yeah.
And the guy used to tell me, like, if they try to do a roadblock, we just shoot and go. We don't stop. I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting in the front passenger seat. And he told me, by the way, there's a gun here. Yeah. So why are you telling me that? Just to be ready. Yeah. Like, okay. We stop in a gas station. They're all on alert.
Yeah.
Because they say, maybe they get a kite where there are tourists coming by, or anybody that comes close, you see them clenching the guns. Okay, this is different.
Yeah, it's intense. It's intense.
We were speaking to that, like we had an episode yesterday. So we were speaking to that, like, sense of safety and how we don't have to struggle for food. We don't have to be in a constant state of survival. Like you mentioned the alarms, he's mentioned the guns. Like that is something to be grateful for.
Absolutely.
Always, especially being a family person, having a wife, having a daughter. That's, to me, it's everything. Yeah. Especially in the current climate of the world.
Listen, we have to be so grateful for the city we live in, for the country we live in, because there is a lot of turmoil going on in the world right now. And to have this island of peace is special. And that's why I said to you right now, I cannot think of anywhere else. I would rather be not in Europe, not in the US. And, you know, it's a great time to be in Dubai and the UAE.
Your journey, Mr. Nenani, is a journey of health. I would summarize it this way after having a short conversation with you. And I would ask this question first. Were you always into sports, like your whole life? And how did you get introduced to sports?
Yeah, I've always been into sport. My dream had always been to either play college level sport in the US or pro sport. And many years ago, I had a conversation with my late father, may his soul rest in peace. And he told me, you will study, you will not run or jump. And fast forward to the latter years of his life, he said to me one day, Because when I see the salaries of the sports people, maybe I gave you wrong advice. But everything happens for a reason. No, I was very active in sport. I was a All England Schools 100-meter and long jumper. When I was in England, I played rugby, played football competitively. But you know, we've spoken about how great Dubai is. One of the things that happened to me that I think happens to everybody when they move to Dubai is I got the Dubai bounce. I don't know if you've heard about the Dubai bounce.
Educate me.
A lot of us foreigners, when we come here, because of the weather and because of all the varieties of food, you have meetings in cafes and hotels and restaurants. Yeah. Most people, when they first move to Dubai, if you come from the UK, they call it the Dubai stone. You put on at least 1 stone, 14 pounds in your first year. Because when it's hot, you're indoors. So when I got to Dubai, I let myself go. I let myself go. I was eating too much. My biggest weakness is sugar. Well, was, because I haven't had sugar for over a year now. And there are some of the world's best cakes and pastries in every shopping mall in Dubai. So yeah, I let myself go, and getting back into the exercise was something I did, I think in September 2021, after the pandemic. I looked at a picture of myself. I'd gone home to Zambia, and I looked at a picture of myself on the aeroplane flying back from Zambia. And I was ashamed and disgusted by what I saw. I landed at 6 a.m. On the flight, I got onto the Wi-Fi and I got on Instagram, and I was looking for a boxing gym. And I landed at 6 a.m., went home, had a shower, had some breakfast, and got in a car and went around a couple of different boxing gyms. And I found what was called, what is today known as the British Boxing Club. And I signed up that morning. At 5 p.m. that day, I had my first session. And from 2021 September until February 2024, I was a regular there. But guess what? I didn't change my eating patterns. So I was training 5 to 6 days a week, but I was still drinking Cokes, still eating tiramisus. And I was getting slightly fitter, slightly stronger, but I was not losing the weight. And in February 2024, routine checkup at the doctor, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And had a conversation. So the first doctor I went to immediately put me on insulin. For 72 hours, I injected myself 3 days. And fortuitously, on the third day, an old friend of mine who I hadn't seen in a long time invited me for a business lunch. And I walked in, and he said, I wasn't looking myself. Are you okay? What's going on? We had a catch-up, as you do. And I mentioned to him about the recent diagnosis and so on. And he said to me, he says, Nenani, you've been boxing for 3-4 years. You're active. This friend of mine, who I won't mention by name, is a foodie. He has eaten in over 1,000 restaurants in Dubai. He weighs 130 plus kilos. He's diabetic. And he said, bro, I don't go to the gym. I don't take insulin. So I'm going to give you the phone number of my doctor, Dr. Matthews. I need you to go and see him. He has a different approach to diabetes. His is a lifestyle-driven as opposed to a medication-driven approach. And I saw Dr. Matthews at JLT Medical Center, and he spent an hour and a half with me, drawing graphs, explaining to me. I felt that I was back in my school days when I wasn't paying attention to what protein, carbohydrates, and vitamins are. Now I had to pay attention because it was real. But I really appreciated the time he took, and he explained to me the science of diabetes, what happens, etc. And he told me to go away. We agreed that I was going to change my diet and come and see him in 3 months' time. I got a constant glucose monitor, and he showed me, taught me how to monitor my progress every 2-3 weeks. He and I would check in on WhatsApp. But what was amazing for me was the decision I took walking out of his room was to immediately give up sugar, my favorite thing. No more white rice, no more white bread. It's all whole wheat, healthy foods. And within a month, I started to see a difference in myself at the gym. I was more energetic, less tired when I went to bed. I wouldn't have to take a day off in between because there was less inflammation. And that excited me.
A question, even fruits, like normal fruits or?
So he said I could have fruits, but in that 1.5 hour tutorial, as I call it, he explained to me which fruits have more sugar than others. So he told me to be, less mango, less watermelon, less pineapple. He told me some really nice hacks. Like, for example, he said, I want you to have 500 mils of water with every meal, including breakfast. I want you to have lettuce and salad with every meal, including breakfast. And guess what? I want you to start your meal by eating your salad first. So even before you've had your eggs or your protein at lunch or dinner, I want you to drink your water halfway, finish your salad.
To fill up
the stomach, yeah. So all of those little hacks really helped me. And I've never really been one that was into salads and chia seeds and nuts and whatever. And I said to him, I said, doctor, what do? I get munchies. I get hungry in the afternoon, early evening. He says, go buy peanuts. Go buy peanuts, go buy hazelnuts, go buy, start taking nuts. And so that changed for me. And I tell this story in the hope that anyone else who's out there listening that has gone through this journey or will go through this journey understands that a man in his 50s can turn things around. I've lost 20 kilos. I like to say I'm fitter, faster, stronger, and lighter than I've been in 3 decades. The last time I felt this strong, this fast was in my 20s. So be careful of those 20-year-olds who are on the run club with me. I'm coming for you. But yeah, I was really grateful for the education and made me better understand. Because I didn't drink or smoke, I think I was judgmental of those that did.
You're lucky
and I thought I was healthy.
You are.
Yes, but the amount of sugar I was taking was bad.
It's almost equivalent.
Correct. Listen, if you have one small Coca-Cola a day, that's not good. I was on like a liter plus.
Yeah.
Okay? I was eating, sugary cereals for breakfast.
Yeah.
Dessert lunchtime, dessert dinner time. Each meal, including breakfast, would be accompanied by 350 to 500 mils of lemon, mint, or Coca-Cola. And we're not talking about the diets or the lights.
Yeah.
So I was not doing good things to myself. And obviously, as I've grown older, my metabolism has slowed down. So the sugar was hitting me, and I didn't even realize it. So it was really exciting to see the results of Dr. Matthew's advice in the gym. And after, I would say, 3 to 6 months of losing weight, getting stronger, being challenged by certain alpha males in my gym, and being able to keep up with them and outdo some of them at certain points, I realized that I wanted something more. I started researching online, to do a half marathon, to do a Ironman, and through a friend of mine, I discovered Hyrox and decided to sign up for Hyrox. And wow, it's since February of 2025, I changed gyms. A big part of Hyrox, over 60%, is running. I realized I wasn't running enough, so I joined a running club where we run 5Ks every Tuesday, 5Ks every Thursday, the Collective Run Club on Kite Beach. I joined the Hyrox group at Gym Nation because they have professional Hyrox coaches. We've had 2 or 3 clinics with elite 15 athletes from the World Series coming and coaching us on the little hacks and things to do. And it's just been exciting.
What's Hyrox for the people that are listening?
So Hyrox is, some people say it's like CrossFit, but it's basically an 8-kilometer run and 8 body weight exercises or functional exercises. So you run 1 kilometer, you do a kilometer of ski-og. You run another kilometer, you push the sled for 50 meters. Kilometer, pull the sled 50 meters. You run another kilometer, you then do 80 meters of burpee broad jumps. You run a kilometer, you row for a kilometer. You run a kilometer, you carry you do a farmer's walk for 200 meters. Run a kilometer, you lunge, weighted lunge, 20 kgs or 30 kgs for 100 meters. You run your last kilometer, and then you do 100 wall balls.
Yeah, no.
So-
I would rather do 20 rounds of sparring. Yeah.
You know what? Choose your poison. I wouldn't do 15 seconds of sparring.
That's not my thing. Running. No.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ahmed? Sparring or?
Sparring, definitely. Because as you were saying, these workouts, like there was a time in my life where I was that disciplined, but now I would rather have fun because I don't.
20 rounds of sparring is fun, is it?
To me, I mean, you see,
Respect.
because what happens during sparring is you don't have to face your thoughts.
Yeah.
But what you do during those intense workouts is you're left there with your thoughts. And those, again, no one's attacking you. You have every reason to stop, and it's easy to give in to those reasons. But when you're facing someone,
Nowhere to hide.
there's no way to hide. So you have to get it done.
Yes.
And like without putting a lot of effort, I'm spending, if not even more amount of energy than Hyrox, because my whole body is reacting to what's happening. There's a very big threat in front of me. I have to be as technical.
The brain is
Constantly sending messages. Like you have to, there's no room for error or thinking of, oh, I'm sad today.
No.
Nothing.
You've got to be locked in.
Yeah, because the guy in front of you, he's here to
Take your head
improve
off.
himself. Yeah, he's here to hit you, and you better come ready.
Yeah.
I have a question. Why did you decide, like after 72 hours, to stop taking the insulin? Did you feel something? Did you realize something, or you just wanted a second opinion instead of ingesting something into your body?
Look, I think I have all the respect in the world for medical professionals, but I think sometimes what happens with us is we're intimidated by them. When a doctor tells you take this, you take it. You don't question it. And absolutely no disrespect to the doctor that I first saw, who out of respect I won't mention by name. It was a life-changing moment, and I wanted to get a second opinion, especially after my lunch with my friend. I was grateful to be able to go and get a second opinion. And I think what the second opinion with Dr. Matthews did for me, it gave me a different perspective on a problem that, to be honest with you, intimidated me. When I first heard it, I was, insulin, I'll jab myself right now if that's what you say I should do. But once the dust settled and I had that lunch and that conversation, I thought it was important to get a second opinion. And to be honest, the second opinion for me was more pleasant. Giving up sugar was more pleasant than injecting myself every single day. It wasn't easy, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I think for me, the lesson was, sometimes we fear to get second opinions. And I think it was really important. And if that's something I can leave here with you guys and with your listeners, is I think it's important to get a second opinion, especially on something as important as your health.
I agree with you 1,000,000%, and I wouldn't have had that perspective change if I hadn't been blessed with a daughter. Because so just a very brief journey on my mistrust with the medical expertise is we used to revise with the same doctor for the longest time during my wife's total pregnancy, and around the nine month where she's expected to give birth, she wasn't showing any signs of being ready to give birth. And the doctor was trying, even though we had a very close bond to her, we trusted her with all her advices and guidance, she went ahead and said we should induce her, even though there were no signs of her being ready to be induced, which would, if we went down that route, she would have had to have an emergency C-section, because you would have induced a woman that was not ready to give birth. And we were ready. We said, okay, it's our first child. We lack the experience, and we trust this doctor. And thank God my wife got cold feet. We were supposed to check in at 10 a.m. or at least 7 a.m. She woke up midnight. She said, Ahmed, I'm not going to go through with it. She said, I want a second opinion. And we went to a Nigerian doctor, Dr. Braithwaite, who I love her very much. She's UK Nigerian. She is all for natural approach. She said, you guys can take 2 weeks. You have time. Apparently, that previous doctor wanted to take off the next 2 weeks, and she wanted to get her job done. And and that was my daughter and my wife on lives on the line. Like, what could have happened? And just that. And I'm like, you guys were willing to gamble with my life. These guys, these people are everything to me. Yeah. You get me? And thank God my wife got that. That, and we went and saw the doctor, and we took our time, and she gave birth naturally.
Wow.
She gave birth naturally, and now I have a very healthy wife, very healthy baby. She didn't have to recover for months. She recovered in days, and alhamdulillah, like I'm very grateful for that. Absolutely. So second opinions.
Yeah,
always.
Absolutely. Listen to your gut and get a second opinion.
Second opinion. Yeah. Did you eat more sugar once you started training? When you came back to Dubai, like you already had I would say that's your only vice, sugar.
Worst vice.
And I would even compare it to, like, if it's taken to extremes, it's just like smoking packs of cigarettes a day. Like you mentioned, liters of Coke.
Yeah.
Those are.
Yeah.
That's a lot of grams of sugar. So, did you find it even easier for you to consume sugar that you started, like, once you went back to training, or was it just the same?
No, listen. Like I said, once this diagnosis was hit, for me it was a combination of giving up sugar, reworking my diet, and increasing the intensity of my training. So for me, in my mind, there was no option for sugar. Since March of 2024, I gave up sugar. So this coincided with the increase in intensity of my training. So don't ask me how I got through it, because I don't know. I think I have an obsessive personality type, and I decided no sugar, no sugar. But yeah, I gave it up.
But in the beginning, how did it feel, like the change when you went cold turkey? Like in your body, did you feel things?
You know,
more fatigued for like the first week, let's say.
Definitely, it wasn't easy. I had the cravings. I did struggle. I think one of the things that helped me is going back to the days when I lived in South Africa, and I had a personal trainer. Every 3 months, he would actually put me on a detox where I would go for 7 days, no sugar, no carbs. And I remember those first 2-3 days was hell. And the first week, should we call it 10 days of the 2024 diagnosis, giving up sugar, reminded me of that period. But I think one of the things I'm most proud of this journey, going back to Feb last year, is the resilience I've built in my mind. Obviously, it was there before, from my younger days, I guess, but there was nothing. I was scared. When I sat with the doctor and they explained to me what can happen to you if you don't control diabetes, I was scared.
Because people change. Like when you're giving like kind of an ultimatum, things change, and you start
especially
accepting things.
No, absolutely. And to be honest, I'd been given warnings before. In 2022, 23, one of the doctors, again, routine check, had said, look, you're giving me pre-diabetic readings when I take your bloods. So I need you to manage this. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, I'm good. But, you know, I have a goal, which I say tongue-in-cheek, but it's a serious goal. Recently, my 17-year-old nephew visited from the UK on his way to Zambia. He's actually here right now, going back to the UK tomorrow. And we trained together. And it was the most amazing feeling to train with my nephew. I've trained with my son as well. My goal, my ultimate goal, is to be able to play football and go to the gym with my grandkids, future grandkids. And I remember sitting in my car at the hospital with tears in my eyes, thinking, dude, what have you done? You've let yourself go. How are you going to be able in 20 years or 30 years to be around and play football and go to the gym and be energetic and travel? So yeah, after overcoming those first few days of discomfort and I really beat myself up for letting myself go. I just said, you know what? Throw the tissues away, as it were, and let's get to work. So whatever it took, I was willing to do it. And I'm so proud and I'm grateful that you guys are giving me this platform to talk about it, because it's doable. If you lock in and and I'm not saying Hyrox is for everyone. It may be mixed martial arts. It may be
whatever.
Walk on the beach. It may be golf. It may be marathons. But find what works for you.
Find your healthy obsession.
Correct. Healthy obsession. Absolutely. And I think as part of that journey, what I think is really important for people to do that I don't think enough people do is analyze yourself and understand what motivates you. And what I realized, and I said it to a training partner of mine, Mahmoud, that I'm motivated by stats and numbers. So going to the boxing gym was amazing for me. But my wife would never let me spar. So the only way I was going to gauge myself in the boxing gym is by sparring. That wasn't going to happen. And I realized I'm that guy who needs to have a time for his 5K. I'm motivated by stats. I'm motivated by my weight. I'm motivated by my speed. I'm motivated by my ability to do. So if I don't have statistics, I don't get excited. So the run club and the Hyrox for me was perfect, because that's all. I can tell you my stats, what I did at every station. I can tell you what my fourth 1K was. That's what moves me. So for anyone else, take that time to understand what motivates you. And once you find what motivates you, then lock in and find the sport, the activity, because one of my favorite quotes is, passion is the genesis of genius. When you're passionate at something, you can do it at a genius level. And I realized my passion is numbers, is stats, is being able to benchmark myself. I literally run club. At the end of the run club, I'm like seeing who I've kept up with, what was his time, what was my time. And I'm like, okay, this is Tuesday. Today, okay. And I'll literally go to a person, I said, on Thursday, I got you. And it is me versus me, but it's me benchmarking myself. I literally know the ages of everybody that beats me at the run club. And I've got them in my crosshairs. One of the guys is a professional footballer who plays in the ADNOC Premier League. He's 22 years old. And his 5K is like 9 or 10 minutes faster than me. But for 4 kilometers, I stay with him. When he takes off, I go with him. I last like 200 meters. But I'm saying to myself, if I can train every Tuesday and Thursday with guys that are professionals, that are faster, fitter, and stronger than me, it's going to make me faster, fitter, and stronger than where I want to be. So I think it's really important to understand that about yourself. Then you can craft a fitness program that works for you.
Let me ask you this question, because it's very difficult to go from an obsession to cold turkey, as you brought it up. So how... I come from the perspective where we have to do what you did for a very short amount of time just to make weight for a competition or for a fight. So I completely cut sugar. So what I used to do is I used to have 7-Up Zero back then and chewing gum. Because I always, I wanted that feeling of having something sweet in my mouth, and I couldn't just cut it off cold turkey. So do you have any tips or things that you had to do to adjust to this new lifestyle that you have?
I can tell you a couple of keto places on my Deliveroo app that that will give me a sugar-free banana bread or carrot cake once in a while.
So you still satisfy that sweet tooth in you.
But you know what I've realized? I do still satisfied with the Coke Zero, as you can see here in front of me. But what I've realized is that you can actually play games with your mind. My daughter said to me the other day, she's like, Dad, can I taste your sugar-free cake? And she took up, she's like, it doesn't taste anything like banana bread. And I said, yeah, I know, but it's psychological. I'm having a dessert. So it doesn't taste like but somehow, once I've eaten something that's salty, if I don't finish it with something sweet, then my meal's not complete. So there's no sugar in there, it's keto. But that mind hack that says you had a dessert or you had, there's a diabetic shop in Al Basha where I found some like these sugar-free keto chocolate things. I throw a couple of them in my mouth with nuts,
Yeah.
every once in a while, and I've convinced myself
But
I've had
this is
something.
a very important thing. A lot of people sometimes forget that you should be able to know how to manipulate yourself in different ways.
Manipulate.
Well,
I like that, yeah.
Food, training, like once you know how to talk to yourself,
Yes.
you can convince yourself to do anything.
To do anything. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think you can speak to this best. Not all days are the same.
No.
Some are more difficult than others.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need pure discipline. Some other times you can negotiate with yourself. So
Yeah.
how do you stay steady when life is going up and down?
I love talking about my Hyrox preparation and journey because I had a theme for my training and for even my shirt when I ran in Abu Dhabi on the 19th of July. On the front, it said, "Seek discomfort." And I love that saying because it says you don't grow, you don't get better unless you go to those uncomfortable moments, those days that are not good.
Yeah.
And I think for me, one of the hardest things, whether I like it or not, whether I'm in denial, midlife crisis, whatever people call it, I'm 55 years old.
Yeah.
So there were days when my body was beat up. There were days I was doing 2 sessions a day. I developed plantar fasciitis, where underneath my feet, because I was running too much, I would wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. And when you're in your 50s, you wake up once or twice a night. The moment I put my foot on the ground, I'd feel pain.
What is that?
So it's called plantar fasciitis. I don't know scientifically, but basically it's when you overwork the sole of your foot.
Yeah.
You get this pain. So probably 2-3 months in, I developed this because I was running. I mean, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would run at the run club at 6 a.m., finish by 7 after our workout, jump in my car, drive to Gym Nation, and go and do a blitz session that involves treadmill work as well. So I developed this, and it became, so I would wake up in the morning with pain.
Yeah.
But I've told myself I'm going to run on Thursday, and it's now Thursday morning. It's discomfort. I'll tell myself,
Yeah.
Nenani, you said seek discomfort. It's uncomfortable. Go.
Go.
And it was unbelievable how that pulled me through that journey. I started to ask myself, what are the things that you fear? What are the things you don't like doing? One of the things I hate is cold water. I hate cold water. So I decided my discomfort journey ahead of, because I knew that on my Hyrox, I'm going to have moments when I'm really uncomfortable and I'm going to have to dig deep. So as part of my preparation, first I started every Wednesday was my recovery day. I would go for cold plunges. Infrared sauna, cold plunge, and compression boots. And 28th of May was my first, so 28th of May, I went and the first tried cold plunge. I went in the warmest one, which was 12 degrees.
Oh, okay.
10 seconds in, I jumped out screaming like a little girl. Everybody in the room was like, what's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
Fast forward to the 15th of July, 4 days before my Hyrox. 3 minutes times 3 times in 2 degrees.
Ooh, that's 1 month of progress. Amazing.
And for me, the reason I did that is because I would get in and I went from 12 degrees down to 10, down to 8, down to 6, down to 2. They also have a 40-degree warm plunge, so I do cold, warm.
Yeah.
And it taught me, reminded me that, like you said, your brain can convince you to do anything.
Definitely.
No matter how cold, how painful, how you don't want to do something. And I talk about my 2 darkest moments in Abu Dhabi in the Hyrox. The burpee broad jumps challenged me in a way I've never been challenged. To the point where my kids told me afterwards my wife was crying when she was watching me do it. Because my cardio was tested. My cardio was tested. The judges kept calling me up because they said my hands were not close enough to my feet. That was discomfort. But you know what? In my preparation, I'd gone there. I went there, when I was driving to Abu Dhabi, I told myself, and throughout the training, I told myself, no matter what happens today, we are not stopping. No matter which judge, no matter which exercise tries to break you, I called it the devil trying to steal my soul. You're going to get through it. So that was one. The burpee broad jumps was really tough. I mean, I had a cap when I was running, and if you see the video of me after the burpee broad jumps, I threw the cap away. I'm like...
And that was station number 4.
Number 4, yeah.
And you still had how many stations ahead of you?
Another 4 Ks of running and another 4 stations. Ooh. But I got through it. I got through it, and then on my 8th kilometer run, after the weighted lunges, I cramped up in both my calves. And I had another 600-700 meters to run and 100 wall balls. And 2 things came in my mind. You can 3 things. You can either give up, stop now. You can stop, massage, and carry on. Or, because of the Gym Nation Hyrox group, the week before we had a professional come in, and she told us, make sure in your pocket you have gels.
Glucose gels.
Glucose gels.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, option 1 is off the table. We agreed, me, myself, and I, agreed stopping is not an option. Number 2, if I stopped to get a massage, I was not going to get up again. So I just said, glucose gel, let's try. I took it, and I can't tell you whether it worked physically, but it did something to me mentally.
Mentally, yeah.
I finished the run, and when I got to the station, the last station, I killed the
ball.
The wall balls.
Yeah.
When I say killed it, at the end of the event, they give you a breakdown of your timings.
Yeah.
And in my age group, I was 1 minute, 50 seconds faster than anyone else. Ooh. There was a guy, so the leader of our run club is a guy called Kane Musa. Maybe you've heard of him, he's a fighter. And Kane is alpha male, and he was there supporting me. And at every station, he was cheering me on. At the burpee broad jumps, there was a guy in a flowery shirt who was close to me. We started at the same time, and Kane kept shouting, catch him, Nenani, catch him. And I couldn't. When I got to the final station, he was 25 wall balls ahead of me. I beat him by 5 seconds. When he was having breaks, I wasn't having breaks.
Demon time.
So I was able to go deep mentally. Did the gel help me? I'm sure it did. But I like to believe it was more than that. I like to believe that all my preparation, being ready for whatever was going to be thrown at me, had me ready for whatever demons I was going to face that day. And yeah, it was a very physically challenging. I shed tears afterwards when I hugged my children, because for me it was important for them to see their dad fighting and to remind them that nothing comes without graft, and we don't give up. No matter what, we don't give up. So it was an incredible journey with many highs and lows as well, but at no point plantar fasciitis. 1 month out from my Hyrox, my left ankle swelled up, and I had to travel to South Africa on business, and I flew Dubai, Johannesburg, Cape Town. I was on flights. That pressure made the swelling increase. I had carried all my running stuff, but for 9 days I was on the road. I couldn't run. I couldn't exercise because my ankle was swollen. Yeah. All of my friends and family I spoke to were like, listen, there's another Hyrox. There's one coming to Dubai in October, or you can go to Europe or do. And for me, no. Yeah. It was rests, it was ice, it was compression, it was I did whatever I had to do.
Commitment.
There was no way I was pulling out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a journey I'm extremely proud of. Somebody asked me why I shed tears when I finished, and it was the triumph over darkness. The diabetes diagnosis told me, you're done. You've not looked after yourself, you're in your 50s, you're done. It's downhill from here. And to finish that race, excuse me for saying it, but it was like me putting a finger up at that voice that says, oh, really now? I'm done, am I? Yeah. I've never been fitter, faster, or lighter, or stronger. And I think that's something I'm very proud to share with everybody, because there's nothing special about me. I was just willing to commit. willing to seek that discomfort and go to those uncomfortable places where there was physical pain, mental doubt. 3 days out from my Hyrox, I remember going for my last cold plunge, and Victor, who works at the gym where I go for the cold plunge, him and I were having a conversation. And I said to him, I said, you know, Vic, I don't know. I started to have doubts. I don't know. I'm feeling tired. I had done a mini Hyrox at the gym the day before, and I was poor. I was tired. And I just said, you know, Vic, maybe no. And he says, no, this is good, Nenani. It's good for you to question. It's all part of the journey. You know, if it's a cartoon, it's that the devil here and the angel here.
Yeah,
the devil was now telling me, no, you can't do this.
Yeah.
You're too old. It's too late. So yeah, it feels amazing to be able to overcome the self-doubt, the injuries, the diabetes. But yeah, it's doable. It's, our minds are amazing.
Yeah.
Powerful.
So
Powerful.
I'll take one thing from everything you mentioned, just alluding to how strong the mind is.
Yeah.
So you used the ice bath, for example.
Yeah.
You were very reasonable and sound to have it a gradual approach. But the way we did it for the first time, we went into 2-3 degrees from our first time for 3 minutes.
Wow.
And you know the feeling once you step in. It's like everything in your body is telling you you're dying. You need to leave. Your feet are burning of how cold it is. Excuse me, your genitals start clenching up and everything hurts. Everything hurts. And the only thing that's going in your mind is leave now,
Yes,
leave. And then you realize after a minute in, and once you control your breathing and you numb that sound in your brain, it's like, no, physically I'm fine.
I've got this.
There's a panic happening here, but physically I'm fine. And now, those 2-3 degrees, we stay in for 7 minutes.
Light
Just
work.
like, to me, it's therapy. It's like that's where I go to regulate my breathing. That's where I go to regulate my brain, because in regulating your breathing, everything gets regulated. What happens when you get pissed off?
Yes, you start to hyperventilate.
What happens when you get sad? You lose your breathing. Happy, you start losing every kind of
Scared,
emotion. Yeah, every kind of emotion messes
Fight
up
or
with
flight.
your breathing.
Yeah.
And then once your breathing is messed up, the connection to the brain is it's malfunctioning. So
Malfunctioning.
yeah. Who or if anyone, like, because your journey kind of reminds me of the strength of David Goggins, if you've heard of that person. Like
The world's fittest man, as they call him.
yeah, I have a lot of things that I disagree with him on, but it's the resilience of setting a goal and having to do it. Like, did you get any inspiration, outside inspiration, or your health was enough for you to?
No, I think for me what was really exciting about the journey, and it continues, don't get me wrong, it continues, is the number of inspirational and interesting people I've met on my journey. I think a David Goggins is inspiring because of how powerful his mind is. I think sometimes I'm inspired by naysayers as well. Those who say, no, you can't, you shouldn't, you're too old, you're too this. I love it. It's for me, this is music to my ears.
Explain that to me, because Yusuf and you share the same type of inspiration. I don't.
Right.
I don't know what I feel about that, but
Yeah.
he gets motivated by naysayers.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I'll give you something that I turned into a motivation that people didn't even realize. At the run club, I'm the oldest or one of the oldest guys there. They call me uncle. Okay, and it's respect. In the Arabic culture, in the African culture, when you call someone uncle, if they're not your biological uncle, it's respect.
Yes.
That's not how I took it. I've told everybody at the run club, the only people that are allowed to call me uncle are those who finish ahead of me. If you finish behind me, how can I be your uncle? There's a guy who's in his 20s and he struggles to keep up with me. I call him uncle now. It's that simple. So for me, it's that motivation that says I refuse to get old. I appreciate the respect. But when we go to that run club, we're athletes. We're not 55 or 25, male or female. It's war. Somebody said to me, Nenani, you did really well. You came third in your age group. I said, yeah, But when I was looking at my times, I was saying, based on the time I did, how were the 30-year-olds doing? How were the 20-year-olds doing it? So maybe, as someone likes to tease me at the run club, maybe it's a midlife crisis thing, but it's fine, I'll take it. Yeah. But for me, it's don't question me. Yeah. One of my best fitness relationships, this gentleman sitting over here, we had wars in the gym. When we would go for a warm-up run, I had a joke, and I'm going to out you now. I would say to him, I'm like, listen, if I belong to a gym and a guy 25 years older than me, finished ahead of me in a run, I'm quitting. Because I'm 55. That means he's 80. If an 80-year-old guy can outrun me, I'm going home. Yeah. I used to outrun him.
Mahmoud.
You need to quit, my guy. So yeah, I like I said earlier, you know, you got to find what motivates you, and I appreciate that you're, you know, for you that doesn't, you know, ring your bell, but for me, naysayers, I like them doubting.
I find satisfaction, you know, afterwards when you see in their faces, you know, they can't say anything now.
Yes.
This is where I find pleasure.
Yes.
And it activates, and it makes me. I have a switch that I have to flip sometimes. When that happens, when I see naysayers, it's switched automatically. They took away from me the process of trying to switch flip the switch, you know.
The switch is
so it's activated now. Yeah. I enjoy it.
You know, there's an interesting phrase. I was watching the NFL draft, American football, and American sport have this phrase they use a lot. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
Yes.
Now, where I grew up, went to school in England and so on, when you say someone has a chip on the shoulder, it's a criticism. He's insecure, he's whatever. But in American sporting analogy, a chip on your shoulder means I have a point to prove, and you're going to see me, like you just said. So yeah, I like having that ability to change something that is either negative into a positive, or like my uncle thing. It's everybody at the run club says it out of respect, but I don't take it that way. I'm like, we're here to run. I got up at 4:30. My uncles are fast asleep. So what you mean I'm uncle? You know, for me, we're here to compete. I'm your age, you're my age. It's not about age. It's about time.
No, trust me, I understand, because I'm still young. I'm turning 30, but now we have youth training with us in the gym, 14, 15 years old. I told Ahmed even the other day, one of them said something to me that ruffled some feathers, you know. We were talking, because back in the day, me and Ahmed, when we were younger, training, we were bad. Like, we used to have days where he's having a bad day and I'm having a bad day, and we just meet up to spar. Oof. And when we leave that sparring, let's say we sit down with a headache, you know, and run a bloody nose, black eye, cut here, cut there, So we kind of hindered our career, let's say, for the first years. You know, we didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve. So one of the youth, like, I was giving him advice on sparring. I say, yeah, that's why now you're 30 and you didn't achieve a lot. Ooh. I'm like, huh? Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Does he still come to the gym?
But he meant injuries. He's not about that. He was talking about injuries. I'm like, yeah. And he said it in a good way. But me internally, I was like, okay, yeah. An hour I was training alone, just to prove that I can do it. But in reality, I mean, I'm feeling it more and more now since he's 30, I'm turning 30. And I already feel like my body is a wreck, by the way.
You're a spring chicken.
But even it goes with a lot of things of like diet and stuff like that. You mentioned a very good point, the inflammation that diet can cause. Like, I remember days where I know I'm fit, but my gut would be this big, and it would, like, 2 days it would go back to normal. And now, being more educated, I know that's inflammation, and I know I ate something that I'm not supposed to eat. It's probably the processed food, probably the immense amount of sugar, whatever it is. But my gut is not supposed to, because I used to say, sometimes I get bloated. That's how I used to. I know my body. I get bloated sometimes. That's it. But now I realized that bloat was never normal because my stomach would go from normal to maybe 4 times the size and then go back to normal. And I'm like, oh, I get bloated sometimes. But once I'm on a healthy diet, that never happens.
No.
It never happens.
Yeah.
It's just when I'm messing around and I'm not sticking to a certain type of diet.
Yeah.
Did you experiment with different diets or you just went ahead with cutting sugar?
So, no, definitely. So what happened is after the 1.5 hour session with Dr. Matthews, he then had me see a nutritionist and broke down what I need to take out of my diet. And I think, one of the things that's really important for me to say is I went home and I sat down with my wife and my daughter and had a conversation with them about what I'd learned, shared with them, and he drew lots of diagrams and wrote down food groups and so on. And my daughter and my wife were amazing. They put a spreadsheet together, and Nima, who's our maid from Nepal, was given the list and said, listen, from now on, sir doesn't eat this. This is his diet. Here are different options. We're going to have couscous instead of white rice. We're going to have brown rice. We're going to have brown bread. And I think what was really helpful for me is that my wife, my son, my daughter all changed as well. So we don't buy white bread in the house anymore. It's only brown. We buy whole wheat or brown pasta, which has been really helpful for me because even when they're preparing meals, the whole family. So I have my in-laws visiting now, and you could literally see them rolling their eyes. No, the healthy stuff. But yeah, no, definitely there was a massive change in the diet.
Cheese, do you eat cheese?
I don't eat much cheese, to be honest. I didn't before anyway. So cheeses, and I think once in a while I would have a low-fat mozzarella in an omelette or something like that.
And one thing also I didn't hear you mention once, coffee.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I've never drank coffee.
Because I would think like that would help me if I cut like sugar. You never had. Wait a minute.
Never. Jamais. Never.
Never had
my entire life.
You missed the point.
Even before.
I registered late. You never had coffee?
No.
So wait, you've never had anything that alters any chemicals in your body, or at least
Sugar.
yeah,
The sugar guy.
But sugar.
No. I've never. And what you have to understand is, I always say to people, I'm Christian, I'm not Muslim. So I don't drink alcohol, not for religious reasons. Choice.
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee, choice. Because why? I love sweet things. I didn't like the taste of alcohol. I didn't like the taste of coffee. That's the only reason.
Okay.
I can't even sit here and lie to you or sugarcoat. I don't drink coffee and alcohol because I don't like the taste.
Yeah.
Okay.
On my wedding day, I drank champagne.
Yeah.
Because it was the wedding and you celebrate.
It's
I hated
supposed
it.
to happen.
I hated it. So even coffee, it wasn't sweet enough for me. Give me hot chocolate, give me milk tea with 4 spoons of sugar, I'm good. But coffee, I didn't like the taste. It wasn't sweet enough for me.
Black tea right now. Like you don't.
So now I drink a lot of green tea. I drink a lot of green tea. Once in a while, when I traveled to South Africa, it was winter, it was cold. I would have a black tea. But yeah, I'm a water, Coke Zero, 7-Up Zero when I need a sugar hit or with a meal. But yeah, I've never been a coffee guy. Never.
What do you think? Like, do you think Hyrox is enough for now to keep you challenged, or do you think you're about to leave it to something?
No,
more?
so
maybe MMA.
What's that?
Maybe mixed martial arts.
MMA maybe. Never know.
Listen. We've got some mixed martial artists in our run club. You guys are scary. Nah. You know what? I'm 55.
No,
I'm good.
we'll set it up for
I've
you.
lasted so long, I don't have cauliflower ears. I'm good. No, so what I've done is, I think it's really important to continue to have goals. I think the Hyrox was amazing. It was a great goal. And I'm glad I did it. It helped me achieve so much more than just on the sports field. And there's so much I learned about myself. So I continue to run. I'm still in the run club. This morning, I missed my Hyrox session at the gym. So I continue to use the Hyrox training. I want to do my new goal is to do the Burj to Burj 21K half marathon in February.
What Burj to what Burj?
Burj Al Arab to Burj Khalifa.
Ooh,
It's a
21K.
21K half marathon.
Nice.
Yeah, so I want to do that. And I will definitely do another Hyrox next year, either Sharjah or Abu Dhabi.
So that's your thing now.
No, that's my thing.
Yeah.
I actually, Hyrox is a worldwide event. So every weekend there's a Hyrox event in a different part of the world. So
Yeah.
one of the things I want to do in 2026 is that's my excuse to travel.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've told myself as I get older is I need to put my footsteps on more places on the earth.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for cities where I haven't been, where my Zambian passport will give me a visa to go. And I'm going to do Hyrox there. But yeah, I'm going to definitely start with Sharjah in April or Abu Dhabi in July 2026. But February, I'm going to do the half marathon.
Just one last question before we put a ribbon on this. You seem very fascinated by numbers. Do you mind if I ask what your education background is, or what do you do for a living?
Yeah, so education background, I have a Bachelor of Science degree in management from Golden Gate University in San Francisco. And before that, I studied hotel management at Les Roches in Switzerland. So my qualification is business admin, but specializing in hotel management. Never worked in the industry. But you know, at the time when I was younger, I realized it was a great pathway to learn about multiple areas. In terms of a living, I'm a businessman. I dabble in oil and gas. But I'm also involved in, and this is something I've been very involved in and passionate about, is infrastructure development on the African continent. A lot of the world's focus is on Africa right now. As an example, the UAE in 2024 overtook everybody as the #1 investor on the African continent. The UAE is investing in mines, it's investing in hotels, it's investing in infrastructure. So we work with different companies around the world that finance and build projects on the African continent, whether it's power and that type of thing.
And one question on that point, especially because I saw one thing I saw recently is about the what do you call it? The Akon
City
Akon
in
City.
Senegal.
Yeah. Is that real, or do you know anything about that?
No, I don't know anything about it. Let me leave it there.
Okay, interesting.
I know.
I've also heard about it.
Yeah.
I only saw headlines.
No, I know some information about it. It's basically a false promise that never delivered.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not to draw comparison, but do you remember the Dubai Land project? How it never got completed, regardless of the reasons. I don't remember the reasons. But Akon City is basically the same thing. They only have one half finished building, and the land is there. There is one big billboard that says Akon City, and there's one half finished building that only has kind of semi-infrastructure.
Wow.
That's it. That's all that
I
exists
remember
in
when I
Akon
saw
City.
like the proposal.
Yeah. It was supposed to be Wakanda.
Yes,
supposed to be Wakanda, but,
well said, yeah, Wakanda.
Well, let's not get into the reasons. It never got delivered. This is the basic thing. Any specific region in Africa you guys are much more invested in terms of infrastructure?
So I'm from Zambia
Yeah.
in South Central Africa, passionately Zambian, as I like to say. But we have strong relationships in different countries, from Mozambique to Kenya to Ghana. And it's a bit of an opportunistic thing, depending on where the need is. And obviously the status of the government in terms of their ability to borrow money and where they're trying to attract investment from. So I think over the last 10 to 15 years, the focus has been Southern Africa and parts of West Africa.
That's great to hear, man. Did we leave anything out?
Don't get me talking about this. I'll be here until tomorrow evening.
Please, by all means. I'm enjoying your journey. I'm not trying to put any pressure on you, because especially being your first time on a podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
People usually get like they're not sure whether they should continue to speak or not. So I'm keeping it up to you. If you have more to share.
I think for me, we've pretty much covered everything. I think for me, maybe we can just recap. I think for me, the important lessons that I took out of the entire journey, as well as this podcast, is the importance of, like we said, seeking diverse opinions, get a second opinion, particularly where your health is concerned. As I said, no disrespect to medical professionals, but sometimes I think we are intimidated by those white overcoats and those offices. When the doctor says, this is what you have and this is what you must do, khalas, that's it, we believe them. I think there's no harm. It's your body, it's your health. Get that second opinion. I'm incredibly grateful. My hero is Dr. Matthews, because he showed me a different path, and he didn't just help me get my diabetes numbers down. He helped me generate new energy in my life. And if I hadn't sought the second opinion, I wouldn't have that. So that's number one. Number two, I told you about the dark places I had to go to. Remain focused on your goal, irrespective of what you face. No, whether it's physical, it's mental, it's self-doubt, it's others doubting you. If you remain steadfast and focused on your goal, nothing can hold you back. I think another important thing beyond just the medical, but with my Hyrox journey, it reminded me the importance of seeking advice from professionals. I think the internet has made it very easy for you to use AI or Google to check something, which is great. But I think for me, when I decided to do Hyrox, I told myself, I know nothing about this, irrespective of the hours of YouTube videos I'd watched. I went to Gym Nation and I said, who are the Hyrox experts in this gym? Which sessions, which classes do I sign up for? And I made sure I understood everything I could from the experts. There were hacks they taught me, there was things they taught me to do. If I hadn't gone there, I wouldn't have had the gel in my pocket. My race would have ended right there. So I think it's important to seek advice from professionals. And finally, trust the process.
Trust the process.
Whether you're a fighter, a runner, a jumper, trust the process. I think that, whatever the process is, whether it's at the gym, everything happens for a reason. I sit here in front of you two gentlemen today because I made a decision to join a boxing gym in September 2021. And I met one of my good friends, Mahmoud, who brought me here. He brought me here to meet you guys. He challenged me in the gym. And so whatever the process throws at you, don't question it. And finally, to wrap it all up, believe in yourself. It sounds like a cliche. But I always say to people, that's your superpower.
Yeah.
I'm going to be political for a second. Donald Trump wouldn't be president of the United States, the most powerful country in the world, twice, if he didn't believe in himself.
Yeah.
People have doubted him, questioned him. Many of us still do. But he's in the White House because he believes in himself. So I think I'll wrap it up that way.
Thank you, man. Very inspiring. And as I said, when you first came in, you look great for 55, man.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you keep on looking greater.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you. This guy is standing over there.